Welcome to GER Hub. In today's video, I shall be discussing statistical routines in Microsoft Excel. That shall be the lesson under the course code STA104 and the course title Statistical Computing 1. This may not be the course code and the course title in your school. However, please, the focus should be on the lesson topic or the lesson itself, which is statistical routines in Microsoft Excel. Now, we shall not be looking at all the routines in the statistical routines in Microsoft Excel. Rather, we shall be focusing on some of them. The lesson objective, therefore, will be to introduce students to some basic statistical routines in Microsoft Excel. Quickly, let's see the lesson content. So in this particular lesson, I'll be considering how to obtain the average of a data set, the mode, the variance of a data set, the standard deviation of a data set, the minimum and maximum values for a data set, quartiles of a data set, percentiles of a data set, and the correlation between two data sets, as well as obtaining samples using random numbers. So quickly, let us go into each of them. Now, in this particular class, I'm going to be looking at each of the routine step by step. So I've provided steps with which you can actually get these routines done. Please, may I use this medium to inform you that if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you've been watching our videos, please do well for us to subscribe to the channel and endeavor to like our videos. Okay, so please smash a like on this video and let's begin. So let's see how to obtain the average of a data set. It is very simple in Microsoft Excel. All you have to do is launch Microsoft Excel, input the data, choose a cell for your result, and input the formula equal to average in bracket array. For example, you can have your array from A1 to A20, and then in step 5, all you have to do is just use the command enter. So let's see how that is done. Now I'm going to open up Excel. I'm going to open up Excel quickly. Now, after opening up Excel, I'm going to choose a blank Excel workbook. So I've chosen this. Now, as soon as you've done that, for legibility's sake, let's quickly increase this to 150 so that everyone can see what we're doing. I'm going to input data that I'm going to be using throughout my lesson with you, and I'm going to call the first data set mathematics or math. I'm going to call this one English. Okay, so underneath this, I'm going to put a data set comprising values that are up to 10. So let's use values up to 10. So quickly, let's use values up to 10. Okay, so those are 10 values under mathematics. So these are like mathematics scores for students, for 10 students. Let's see how we use those scores. Okay, so please, once again, smash a like on this video and endeavor to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Okay, let's increase. I would love to increase this to 20, a data set comprising 20 data entries. So okay, so I'm going to do this. Now, the essence of doing this is to use this data set to show you all I'll be showing you in this video. So please just pay attention. So we have a data set comprising 20 data entries each. Good. So we are good to go. Now let's start with the very first thing. So remember, the first routine is to obtain the average of a data set. Let's see how that is done in Excel. Quickly, I'm going to come over to the cell just underneath 20. That is the cell A21. Now take note, our cell range will go from A2 down to A20. So A2 to A20 is what we are operating on. So let's see how many data entries we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, let's add one more to make it 20. Let's add one more to make it 20. Good. So we have 20 data entries under mathematics and English. So we will be operating with the cell range A2 to A21. Now, let's start with the routine. If you want to obtain the average of a data set, all you have to do is impute the formula equal to average, okay, equal to average. Then you put in your cell reference or your cell range, in this case A2 to A21. Okay, now what makes you sure that you are correct is that as soon as you put in the correct cell reference or cell range, you will see that Excel highlights immediately all the values under that cell range. So once you do that, and once you see that, it means you are correct. So all I have to do is press enter. Now this is the average of that data set. It tells us that the average of the mathematics scores of students, the 20 students, is 14.25, and I'm going to bolden that result. Now, you don't have, once you have done that for mathematics, you can use a drag to obtain that for English scores. So you can see what I've just done. All I did was to use a drag again. Just drag your results by bringing it to the edge, drag it. Okay. So the dragging process ensures that you have copied the formula. Let's do that again. Let's see. So equal to average A2 to A21 was what we did earlier on, and enter gave us 14.25. So I'm going to drag this. Now that shows that the mean of, or the average of, all English scores is 15.95. So remember guys, the formula is equal to average in brackets your array. So that is the routine. That's how simple the routine is for the average. Now let's go over to the next routine. The next routine is to obtain the mode of a data set. Now let's see how we obtain the mode of a data set. Step 1 says launch Microsoft Excel. Please take note, before beginning any routine in a particular software, you must launch that software. To launch the software simply means to load and run that software. So you can't start telling us about carrying out a routine in a software when you have not actually launched the software. So you have to open up the software. In this case, Microsoft Excel, impute your data, choose the cell for your result, and then impute the formula that implements that routine you want to do, and then press enter as the case may be in this one. So let's use that to get the mode. Please take note, just in case you are watching this video and you don't know what the mode is. The mode of any data set simply talks about, the mode of a data set talks about the number that reoccurs the most in a data set. So that value that reoccurs the most. So you can use Excel to find the mode of a data set. So if, for instance, I want to know what score among the scores of 20 students in mathematics reoccur the most, all I have to do is to impute the formula equal to mode, and then I'll put in the array. Remember, our array remains A1 to A21. So I'm going to put in the array and then press enter, and it gives me my mode as 12. So again, you can also get the mode for the English scores by dragging and copying the formula. So it tells you that the mode for mathematics scores is 12. It means the number in the set of 20 scores for students that reoccur the most for mathematics is 12, while that reoccur the most for English is 17. So that is how simple it is to implement that routine. Let's move over to the next routine without wasting time. So the next routine is to obtain the variance of a set of data in Microsoft Excel. Now please take note, there are two commands here I want you to pay attention to. You can actually find the variance of a set of data in Excel for the population, and you can also find the variance for a set of data in Excel for the sample. The sample variance is an estimate in this case of the population variance. So if you want to find the population variance of a set of data using Excel, all you have to do is impute the formula in step 4 equal to variance.p in bracket array. But if you want to get the variance for the sample, all you have to do is to impute the formula equal to variance.s in bracket the array. Now please, again, looking at the steps, you will notice that there are steps here. Step 1 step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5. In step 1, you launch, open the Microsoft Excel. In step 2, you input the data set. In step 3, you choose a cell for your result. In step 4, you input the formula, and thereafter in step 5, you press enter. And you do same. The only difference between the sample variance and the population variance is the formula. The formula for the population variance is equal to variance.p in bracket array, while the formula for the variance, the sample variance, is equal to variance.s in bracket array. So let us quickly get the sample variance and the population variance. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is to input the formula for the population variance. So I'm going to put there equal to variance variance.p, that is var.p, and I'll put in the cell reference, which is A2 to A21. Remember, guys. So enter, and that gives me the variance, the population variance for the mathematics course as 13.8875. If I want to get the variance of the English course, all I have to do is just to copy that formula by dragging that cell, and I'll end up having the variance for the English course to be 12.9475. Now, if your interest was to get the sample variance, let's come over to the next cell underneath and put there variance.s. So variance.s in bracket the array A2 to A21, and enter gives me the variance for the sample. So this sample variance is an estimate of the population variance. Please take note of that. So for us to get that of the English course, the variance of the sample of English course, you end up having 13.62895. Okay, so that variance estimates the population, the population variance. That sample variance estimates the population variance for English course. So it is that simple to implement. Now let's come over to the next routine. The next routine is to obtain the standard deviation of a set of data. Now you will notice that in my steps here, if I have put there steps 1 to 5 under 1, steps 1 to 5 under 2, steps 1 to 5 under 3, and steps 1 to 5 under 4. Let's go over what is actually going on here. Now please take note, guys, standard deviation is equal to the square root of your variance. So let's say you have a variance obtained already for the population. If you want to get the corresponding standard deviation, all you have to do is to take the square root of that variance. However, in Excel, please take note, in Microsoft Excel, you can go directly into getting your population standard deviation by using the formula stdev.p. You can also use the method of taking the square root of the variance you obtained earlier on. So let's see how that is done. Quickly, what I'm going to do here, let's move over to Excel. Now, if you want to get the population standard deviation, all you have to do is input the formula stdev.p. stdev.p is the formula that gives you the standard deviation of the population. So I'm going to put my cell reference A2 to A21 and then press enter. That will give me the population standard deviation. Please take note of that. Now, coming over here, if I want to get the corresponding population standard deviation for the English course, I can do that by dragging and copying the formula. So what if you want to get the sample variance or the sample standard deviation for mathematics course? We would input the formula this time around, no more stdev.p, but stdev.s. Okay, then in bracket the array A2 to A21, and then enter. That will give us the population and the sample standard deviation for mathematics course. Now, if I want to do that, if I want to get the result for the corresponding result for English course, all I have to do is copy the formula. You don't need to go through typing the formula again. So you can just copy the formula and it goes in. Now, let's now go the other approach. So there are steps here. Take note. The steps we've just implemented is by direct approach using Excel. In the direct approach using Excel to get the population standard deviation or the sample standard deviation, all you have to do in step 4 is input the formula stdef.p in bracket array as you have it here, or input the formula stdef.s in bracket array for the standard deviations, population and sample using the direct approach. However, if you've obtained the variance previously for the set of data, you could just, instead of imputing the formula stdef.p or stdef.s, you can just go into squaring the taking the square root of the variances you obtained. So let's say we obtain the variance of the population like we've done. I could get the corresponding standard deviation by taking the square root of the population variance. And for the sample, I could get the corresponding sample standard deviation by taking the square root of the sample variance. So let's see how that is done. The steps are there for you to see. So I'm going to come over here and put equal to square root sqrt square root of the variance we obtained. Now the population variance we obtained earlier on, please take note, was 13.8875. It is either you put in this value or you put in the cell reference that holds that particular value. The cell reference that holds the population variance, take note, is A24. A24 holds the population variance for mathematics, while B24 holds the population variance for English. Now let's say I want to get the population standard deviation using the indirect approach, which is taking the square root of the population variance. All I have to do is just put in the formula equal to square root, that is sqrt, and I'll put the cell A24. Okay, so you will notice that as soon as I put in the cell A24, the highlighted cell happens to be the population variance for mathematics course. So you just press enter, and funny enough, you can see it gives you the same value we got for the population standard deviation for mathematics course. In this case, you don't need to copy formula again because we've already gotten the result we needed for the population standard deviation of the English course. So I'm only showing you this to just let you know that you can actually use an alternative method, which is taking the square root of the population variance to get the corresponding population standard deviation for mathematics course and English course. So we don't need to repeat for English course. Now let's go over to getting the sample standard deviation using the indirect approach. Okay, that is taking the square root. So I'm going to put in equal to square root sqrt, and in bracket. Now let's look at what the square root, this was the cell A25 holds the value for the variance we obtained earlier on. The cell A25 holds the value. So what I'm going to do is put in A25 here. If you put in A25 and press enter, it will give you the same value we obtained earlier for the sample standard deviation. So you can see that that is an alternative approach. That being said, let us now move over to the next routine. So the next routine in this particular lesson is to obtain the minimum and maximum values for a data set. Now, you may quickly ask yourself the question, why is it necessary to obtain the minimum and maximum values for a data set? For the 20 values we are using in this particular study or lesson, please take note, it appears almost irrelevant to get the minimum and the maximum value simply because the data set is very small. However, please take note of one thing. You may be dealing with a data set so large, as large as even 1 million values. Now, what if you are dealing with such a data set? In such a data set, it may be very difficult for you, if you are not the one who originated that data set, it may be very difficult for you to know what the smallest value is and what the largest value is. So Excel can actually help you tell what the minimum and the maximum value are for a particular data set so large. So how do you get it done? You launch Microsoft Excel. We've already done that, so we don't need to do that again. We input the data set. We already have a data set, so you don't need to do that. You choose a cell for your result. We are going to choose one underneath once we get into the Excel page. Now for the minimum value, all you have to do is just to input minimum in brackets the array. Since there are two arrays of numbers, two data sets, I'm using array 1. Okay, so for the maximum value, you just put equal to max in bracket array, and that will give you the result once you press enter for both of them. So let's come over here and implement that routine. So let's say I want to know the minimum score that was obtained by a student amongst the 20 students that wrote that test, mathematics test. So I'm going to put here MIN minimum equal to minimum, and then put in the array A2 to A21 and then press enter. You see clearly that the minimum score, which is the lowest score students scored in mathematics test, was 12. Now I could do same for the English scores by copying the formula just like we did previously. So once you copy the formula, automatically it gives you 10. So the minimum score in English was 10, while the minimum score in mathematics was 12. So it is that simple. So if you want to do the same thing for the maximum, let's determine the maximum score for the mathematics test. So the maximum score will be equal to maximum A2 to A21 and enter. That gives us 24 as the maximum score. Now again, I could easily copy the formula, and that will tell me that the maximum score also for English is 24. Now it is that simple. Please go over the video again and follow the steps I have provided. It will give you those results. Now let's come over to quartiles. Please take note of one thing. There is something in statistics called the 5-number summary. The 5-number summary in statistics comprises 5 numbers that gives you an insight as to the nature of a data set. The 5-number summary comprises the minimum value, the first quartile, what is called the second quartile, which is the median, the third quartile, which is the upper quartile, and the maximum value in the data set. So when you obtain the minimum value and the maximum value, and also obtain the quartiles, the first quartile, the second quartile being the median, and the third quartile being the upper quartile, put together those 5 values, maximum and minimum, first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, make for what you call the 5-number summary. So let's see how quartiles are obtained. Please take note that quartiles are statistical measures. In particular, they are measures of central tendency in statistics that partition a data set into four parts. So quartiles partition a data set into 4 parts. For that reason, you have the first quartile, the second quartile, the third quartile, and the fourth quartile. The fourth quartile coincidentally corresponds to the maximum value. The second quartile corresponds to the median, while the first and third quartile respectively are the lower quartile and the upper quartile. And quartiles are represented with Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 respectively. So let us see how we do that in Excel. If you want to get the quartile, any particular quartile, all you have to do is impute equal to quartile in bracket the array, comma, the quartile you want. So if I want the first quartile, I'm going to put 1 in place of quartile. If I want the second quartile, I'm going to put 2. If I want the third quartile, I'm going to put 3. If I want the fourth quartile, which is the maximum, I could just put 4. And it will give us the same value of the maximum we did earlier on. So let us quickly implement this routine, guys. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get the first quartile, second quartile, and third quartile for mathematics scores. So that tells you that we don't need to get the median because the second quartile is the median. So let's see. So I'm going to put here equal to quartile, okay, equal to quartile, and I'm going to put the array is A2 to A21, comma, and I'm going to put, let's say I want the first quartile, I'm going to put 1 and then press enter. So that tells us that the first quartile is 12 for mathematics, and if I drag this, it will tell me what the first quartile is for English. So it is also 12. Now let's move over to the next cell and get the quartile, the second quartile. So I'm going to put equal to quartile, and I will put in the cell reference A2 to A21, comma, and I'm going to put 2. So that will give me 12 as the second quartile. And if you drag, it gives you 17 for English as the second quartile. So the first and second quartile respectively for mathematics is 12 and 12, while the first and second quartile for English language is 12 and 17, just by imputing that formula. Now let's quickly go to the third quartile. So for the third quartile, I'm going to put equal to quartile, and in bracket put your array A2 in this case to A21, comma, space, and I'm going to put 3 representing third quartile, enter. So my third quartile is 14 for mathematics, the mathematics course, and for the English course, it is 17. Now, let's verify the maximum we obtained. The maximum we obtained for the maximum we obtained for our data set was 24. So let's see. I told you that the fourth quarter may correspond with the maximum. So let's see. I'm going to put here equal to quarter, okay, and then put my array A2 to A21, and then space. I'm going to put 4 as the fourth quarter. Enter. Okay, let's see. Okay, so there won't be any need for that because the fourth quarter is actually the maximum. So Excel is rejecting that. Let's say again, let's see quickly what the formula gives here. Let me put A2 A21. Okay, I want to see the Excel note. Okay, so there is no need for that because the fourth quartile is the maximum value. So that's what Excel is actually saying. Okay, so that being said, let's move over to the next routine. So the next routine we shall be taking are percentile, whereas quartiles partition the data set into 4 parts, percentiles partition the data set into 100 parts. So for you to get percentile is slightly technical in Excel. What you are going to do is to put in the formula when you get to step 4, percentile in bracket array, comma, the percentile. Now in this case, for the 25th percentile corresponds to the first quarter, and the 50th percentile corresponds to the second quarter, while the 75th percentile corresponds to the third quarter. So we are going to test that to see how that goes. So all you have to do is input the formula equal to percentile in bracket array, comma, percentile, okay, and then press enter. So if you want to get the 25th percentile, all you have to do is to put in 0.25. The way it is programmed in Excel is that the value you put for the percentile must range between 0 and 1. So in Excel, if you end up putting 25, you will be wrong. So you put in 0.25 if you are looking for the 25th percentile. So let's see how that goes. I'm going to put in equal to percentile. Okay, so percentile for the 25th percentile, I'm going to put the array. The array is A2 to A21, comma, and I'm going to get for the 25th percentile, I'm going to put 0.25 and then enter. So you see it gives us the same value as the first quarter. Okay, so you can drag to get your result for the English course, the first percentile for the English course, or the 25th percentile rather for the English course. You can just drag and it will give you a result. You can try that later on. So let's get equal to percentile. Let's get the 50th percentile to see that it corresponds with the second quarter. So I'm going to put percentile equal to percentile A2 to A21, comma, I'm going to put 0.50, which is the 50th percentile, and enter. You notice it gives again 12, which happens to be the same value we got for the second quarter. Now I'm going to put equal to percentile. This time around, I'm going to put 0.75, which is the 75th percentile. So let me put in my array A2 to A21, comma, I'm going to put 0.75 and then enter. So you see it gives me 14, which confirms that the 75th percentile is the same as the third quarter. So let's move over to the next routine. Now in the next routine, we are going to look at getting correlation. Now, correlation is a technique or a measure in statistics that helps you determine the strength of the relationship between a bivariate data, okay? That is two sets of data that are taken on a particular subject. So let's say that the subject in this case are students, 20 students from a particular class, and we want to see the relationship between their mathematics and English scores in a particular test. Now, what correlation helps you do in terms of getting the strength of the relationship between the two sets of data is that it tells you whether or not a relationship exists between the two sets of data, such that you can actually tell if a relationship exists, and if the relationship is such that an increase in the mathematics score, a good performance in the mathematics score can predict a good performance in the English score, or otherwise. Okay, so let's see how we get the correlation between two sets of data. So the steps are as follows. Launch stroke open Microsoft Excel. Okay. When you launch the open up Microsoft Excel, the next step will be to impute the binary data. The next step will be to choose a cell for your result. And the next step, you impute the formula Corel in bracket array 1, array 2. So the array 1 will be the cell reference or the cell range for the first data set, and array 2 will be the cell reference for the second data set. Then you press enter. So it's a very simple routine. Let's do that quickly. So what I'll do is this. I'm going to put here under cell A38, I'm going to put my result for correlation. So I'm going to type in Corel. I'm going to type in Corel A2 to A21, which is the first array, comma, B2 to B21. Now, A2 to A21 is the first array that is for the mathematics code, and B2 to B21 is the second array for the English code. So once you input the formula equal to Corel A2 to A21, comma, B2 to B21, press enter, it will give us the correlation. So from that, you can see that the correlation is positive but weak, because it is less than 0.5 but greater than 0, of course. So it is positive but weak. So I'm going to bolden that, and that's all you have to do. Please remember the formula, remember the steps. Now let's move over to the last routine. Let's move over to the last routine. The last routine we shall be looking at in this particular lesson is obtaining samples using random numbers. Please take note, you must know the importance of this routine, without which you will put no significance on it. Now, sometimes in a course called sample survey, or in statistics generally, we often will want to take out samples from a population. For instance, if census is to be carried out, there is no way the census men can go around every nook and cranny of the country. So for so many reasons, for insecurity, for security reasons rather, and for proximity reasons, it may not be possible for you to access certain areas in a country. And for one of such reasons, you may have to draw samples. Again, it may be very difficult for you to use a population, because a population may be very large, and the resources to access every member of a population may be very limited. As such, you may need to work with samples. Now, to draw samples in statistics has to be in the best possible way, unbiased. And in Microsoft Excel, you can actually draw samples randomly in an unbiased manner from a population of value. And that is what this particular function in Excel does for you. So the formula is rand between. So let's say that there are 50 persons in a population, and the government would want to fund the activities of 5 persons randomly. Now, if the government starts picking people who they know, or using sentiments, or using certain yardstick to pick who they know systematically, problems may arise, because they may end up picking 5 persons from a particular geographical location in the country, and eyebrows will be raised. So in order to pick or select the 5 persons from among the population of 50 persons randomly or in an unbiased manner, you can actually use this function in Excel to select 5 persons randomly. Now, I'm going to look at it with you. This is what we are going to do. So let's come over to, this is what we are going to do. I'm going to copy our data. So let's copy our data. This is what we are going to do. I'm going to copy the first 20 data entries. and then let's put it in cell D or cell E. Let's put it in cell E. Now, please take note, 23 now start, 23 has the rank 1, 24 has the rank 2, 19 has the rank 3. Now, the essence of doing this is so that the values in the population are now ranked. Now, let's take the next one. Let's take the next values. So I'm taking the next values. There is no need to order them. You just need to put them in this manner. I want to show you how to use that particular function. So look at it this way. Let's assume that these numbers represent people in a population, okay, of 40 people. So there's a population of 40 people. Take these numbers as their names. Take these numbers as their names. Now, what we'll do is to assign the number 23 with the rank 1, assign the number 24 with the rank 2, assign the number 19 with the rank 3, 17 with the rank 4, and so on up to the last number 17 will have this rank 40. So once you have done that, it means there are 40 values in the population. You can now come over to this cell and select, okay? You can start selecting. Anyone we select, we will bolden, okay? So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put, let's go back to the Microsoft page. So now the formula says, impute the formula in step 3 equal to rank between, in bracket, first number, comma, last number. So what we are going to do here is to quickly come over. Let's come over here. So we are going to put equal to, we are going to do this routine 5 times, okay? Rand between, okay? Rand between, I typed that wrongly, so let's put it again. Rand between. So random number between what value and what value. So between 1 and 40. Rand between 1 and 40. So that will be the answer. I'll press enter. So you would see clearly that it has selected the 10th person. The 10th person has been selected. So what is the number on the 10th person of the 10th person? That is 12. I have golden 12, so we have selected 12. So I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to put round between. Remember, we need to select 5 persons from the population. So round between, and I'm going to put again 1 to 40 and enter. It selects the 33rd person. So I'm going to go down to 33 and select who that is. The number 17 has been selected. Okay. Now, anywhere, any cell, in any cell, you don't necessarily have to go up. In any cell, you can you can put in the formula. So round between. So far, so good. We have selected 2. Round between. Okay. I'm going to select from 1 to 40 another, and that will be the number occupying 24th place. So let's see what that number is. What number occupies 24th place? 12. So I will select 12. I've boldened it. Then I could go again to saying round between 1 to 40. That is my 4th choice. That is the 25th number has been selected. So we locate the 25th number. The 25th number is 17. Then comes again round between, equal to round between. And 1 to 40. The 6th number has been selected. So let's go to the 6th number. The 6th number is 12. So we have selected 12, 12. We've also selected 12 and 17. We've also selected 17. So altogether, we've selected 5 members of the population. 12, 12, 12, 17, and 17. So these are the persons selected from that population to benefit from whatsoever the government would want to give. So this is a sample drawn from that population. So it is that easy. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please do well to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. My analytics tells me that more than 50% of the persons who watch our videos on GER Hub have not subscribed to our channel. So if you fall among that category of persons who have not subscribed to the channel, please do well to smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel immediately. Thank you very much. We really appreciate. And smash a like on the video, as your likes would help us make YouTube see the YouTube algorithm and send this video out to as many persons as possible. So thank you very much for watching this video. Until some other time, stay blessed. I'm going to be uploading the next video which continues this class. So lesson 2. In lesson 2, we shall be looking at mathematical routines in Microsoft Excel. And in lesson 3, we will be looking at plotting graphs in Microsoft Excel. So until then, stay blessed. Thank you very much.